Welcome, friendos. It's your boy Beige here with a special episode of Friday Nights Live. Tonight, we got something special for you. We're going to be talking about the Knights' latest drop, the Knights Games Collection, on the ThetaDrop marketplace. We've got an exclusive first look at the digital collection and the people behind it who helped create this. Today, we've got Kalani Lindsey, the creative director of the Knights, Kalani Lindsey, the artist who was behind this collection, and Scott Beckman, the Knights COO. Welcome, guys. We're going to start off. Kalani, so what inspired you with this digital collection?
Oh, well, honestly, I work in the video game industry. I've always had a love for manga, illustration, and the car scene, honestly. So all of that was brought together to kind of like create something Rocket League inspired. And I just wanted to kind of like smash all of those ingredients together to come out with something like in your face, amazing, bombastic, and all of those
Mhm.
things. So yeah, that's really what led me to this artistic path.
Okay. I was going to say, I really like your art style. I assume that, was it you, Amani, who reached out to him first? Like, how did we go
It
about?
was a combination of Scott and myself, Angelica,
Mhm.
who's our head of marketing. What it really boiled down to was, we had already done an NFT, and we really wanted to focus this time on someone who had skin in the game from a game development standpoint.
Mhm.
So we started doing research, and we kind of narrowed it down from 50 different artists and to two or three.
Mhm.
And then we narrowed it down to one, which was Kalani. And just looking at his work, it really just boiled down to first of all, as Kalani said, that one of the inspirations for this digital collectible was Rocket League. And
Mhm.
so when we were looking through his work, we saw some of the cars and the motorcycles that he had done, and on top of that, one of our big inspirations, visually from a Knight's perspective, is like Tron. And
Mhm.
Tron motorcycle, Kalani actually did his own rendition of a futuristic motorcycle. And when I saw that, I was like, this is the guy.
Mhm.
So
What
yeah.
about yourself, Scott? Because I like
Yeah,
as you
so
said,
like
it was a collaborative thing between like you, Amani, and Angelica.
yeah, so we kind of narrowed down the scope of what we wanted to do for this digital collectible, and we really wanted to tie it to Rocket League and Rocket League inspired, as we've said before. And after we got through the 50 artists that we had looked at, we narrowed it down, and then Monty and I just spoke with Kalani, and it was like it was almost like he was just like a long lost brother. Like
Mhm.
we just instantly clicked. We loved his style, and then his connection to the gaming industry is one thing that we really wanted to focus on with an artist with this collection. And
Mhm.
Kalani just hit every mark that we needed. And then he literally turned around some initial sketches in, I think, like a day or two, and we were just blown away by the raw sketches that he provided us.
Okay,
So
I
that's
really like that
how that
too.
started.
Like that you guys, like you said, one thing that like inspired you like to pick him was that he was involved already in the gaming industry. Would you want to explain that a little bit more, Kalani?
Yes, currently I'm hailing from High Res Studios. It's a studio out in Atlanta. They're popular for games like Smite and Paladins. But outside of that, I also contract for different studios around the globe as well. So yes, I've been playing video games all my life. I'm working in the industry. So yeah, I'm living the dream.
Honestly, have you played Rocket League yet?
I don't know if the way that I play Rocket League is considered playing. I lose a lot. I love the game, but I'm not good at it.
It's okay. I understand your pain. I played a couple of our pros, and let's say it wasn't that good on my part. They beat me with one hand, but I don't want to talk about
I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair that they don't let the ball touch the ground. I'm just gonna say that.
I agree with you. It's very like jarring whenever you see like you think you have a chance, you hit it up, and then they're flying, and you're just like, "Well, I can't do that. I'm out of boost. I'm over here trying to go to the corner."
For
So,
sure.
what type of games do you like to play the most?
Oh, right now I'm into FPSs, and
Mhm.
I'm playing single player RPGs like Final Fantasy VII. I'm just now jumping into that, getting prepared for the new release of that game. Hopefully soon. Um, but yeah, man, like
Mhm.
I've grown up on the classics, jumping from Zelda to GoldenEye to, COD. So
Mhm.
all the big titles. I'm definitely a console player.
Mhm.
So shout out to all of my console people. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Scott. So Scott, so what's like? Is there something that you like more about this digital collection that we're doing, like about the second one more than the first one?
So I like that, first of all, that we were able to find an artist that has heritage to our legacy. That being that Kalani works with Hi-Res Studios, and we just so happened to win the 2020 Smite Championship. So it was like all the,
Hmm.
the pieces aligned. And then in terms of this collection as a whole, the thing that I like is just realistically the style that Kalani brought to everything. Like,
Hmm.
Amani and I said from the beginning that we didn't want to put him in a sandbox. Like we had
Hmm.
some things that we needed him to lock in on, but ultimately it was like creative freedom from him because as Amani's a creative person and he'll tell you, nobody
Hmm.
that's creative likes to be put into a sandbox, right? And then just the overall assets that Kalani designed are really unique and really vibrant in the color palette that he chose. So they're just great.
I was gonna say same question for you, Amani.
For me, like just from the beginning was, the level of creativity and the need to like kind of perfect the craft that Kalani showed us.
Hmm.
From the beginning, he talked about, like taking things to the next level and doing more than what we were actually asking. And he actually, went way above and beyond expectation. The
Hmm.
things that stand out for me with the artwork that we will be using in this drop is the movement.
Hmm.
He he was really able to take a static image, and
Hmm.
when the user looks at it, you see the movement. Like you see the play, the Rocket League play. There's the,
Hmm.
get too much away, but like you've got the cars and the soccer ball, and you can actually see the movement and
Hmm.
the intensity of what's happening in the imagery that Kalani created. And I think that that's part of the reason that we chose him, because we were able to see that in his work, starting
Hmm.
off. But he, when Scott and I reviewed like the first drafts, we're just blown away.
Hmm.
And I would say that it invokes a feeling,
Hmm.
more so than the first one that we did,
Hmm.
where it was more like a statement of like who
Hmm.
we are as a brand. But this is kind of an experience, I would say. So that's what I really
Hmm.
liked about the work that Kalani did for us. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like for you, Kalani. I was, as he stated, like I was looking at your work too. It's like what inspired you to add the movement to your art? Because that is a nice touch. Like where some people when the art is just like it's just flat, but you add movement, making it seem alive.
Mm.
That's what Rocket League is to me. It's a lot of motion, a lot of action,
Hmm.
a lot of like just moments where you're just kind of slam dunking on your opponent. Like,
Hmm.
not only can you score, but you can score in style, and you can't do that standing still. So I thought it was really
Hmm.
important to kind of like infuse that momentum into the illustrations, to get the viewer excited about what they're looking at. Like this isn't
Hmm.
a family portrait that you hang on the wall and admire. This is like an action scene.
Hmm.
Thinking like Fast and the Furious, or just an explosion is the best way to summarize it all.
Okay, and I was
Yeah.
gonna say, do you have like a whole creative process that you go through when you're like making your art? Like how would you describe
Yes,
it?
definitely. My strategy harkens like back to my childhood. Like what inspires me to draw is consuming media in the world around me. So when they came to me with this campaign, like I sat down and watched my favorite car movies. I played Fast and the Furious. And after I collected my L's, I was inspired. So I took all that and brought it to the drawing table, and just sketched, put on music, put on fast music, and I just kept going and going and going until I generated, a scene that I loved. And a weird thing about me while I'm illustrating, I make sounds. Like I'm making car noises, I'm making explosions. It kind of brings me back to my childhood again. And honestly, as a growing human, like I think that's important to kind of just live in the moment and use your imagination.
So,
That was the other thing I wanted to add real quick to this
uh-huh.
is one of the things I was really impressed about with the work that Kalani did was also the research that he
Hmm.
did on the culture, right? The car culture,
Hmm.
and using that with Rocket League as well as some of our other games that we play as an organization. But he was able to bring to the table details to these cars that are going to be noticed and respected by people that are in the car culture, that do follow what is happening in the industry, and people that are customizing their vehicles and what have you. Like he brought those elements to
Hmm.
it, and there were things that we were like, "Whoa, is that a thing?" And then like we were able to like look it up, and it's a
Uh,
thing, and he brought that to the table. So it was really cool. He is on point, like with everything. So it was definitely a pleasure to go through this experience with him.
I was gonna say you guys knocked it out of the park both times. Each person you guys get, they do their research and they do a really good job. So, Scott, how do you feel about partnering up with Theta Labs for this digital collection job?
So they've been an extremely valuable partner to us. We really like Theta because they use green blockchain technology for digital
Hmm.
collectibles, and they use 0.1% of the energy that other blockchain options use. And they've been just a valuable partner through the entire process. They let us know like what the industry and that whole genre is looking at in terms of the digital collectibles. They let us know what their customers like to see. They're just very connected in a way that honestly, with everything that we have going on as a company,
Hmm.
I don't think that we could be as valuable and connected as they are. So the team over there has just been extremely helpful in this whole entire process, from the first one that we've done to this one to date. And we showed them the progress along the way, and they were blown out of the water as well. So it's,
Hmm.
in our eyes, it's just an overall success, if you had to ask me.
Hmm. Hey, I like that answer. I was gonna say, so Amani, this is your second time doing something like this. How's your opinion grown from like doing this a second time now? Because I always feel like when you do something the first time, you're stuck. Like you have the one because you did it, but the more you do it, the more your opinion grows on the subject.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what I said earlier about Kalani's want to take it to the next level and exceed expectations. And I think that with this drop that we have taken it to the next level. And obviously this is a growing industry, and we're figuring out things as we go, and the different things that we can do to showcase different artists and our direction as a brand. And so I think that to answer your question, that it's for me the experience of just like taking things to the next
Hmm.
level and figuring out from a creative standpoint what's the next thing that we can do.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
then just to add to that too, in terms of taking things to the next level, one of the great things about the ThetaDrop network is that their blockchain was purposely built for video, media, and entertainment. So
Hmm.
with this collection that we're dropping, um, the extremely rare collectible is going to be animated, and that's something that
Hmm.
I don't think a lot of people take advantage of.
Hmm.
And Kalani, uh, one of the items that he designed, it's called the Night Demon, and it was his take, and it's just awesome. It's
Hmm.
animated. It's got jets on the back. Like it's just really cool. Like it's really cool.
I was gonna say, so Kalani, is this like your first time like doing in like this space of like digital collections, like working on this type of
Um,
stuff?
uh, Now that I think about it, yes, yes, this is my very first time. So Yeah, they cracked the seal on first times for me on this
Uh,
project. So
and I was gonna say, like,
Yes.
has your opinion on like the matter of like making this type of stuff like changed at all? Because I always notice like
um,
it's like it has different views. So and like especially the artists, like I know they have like different opinions on it.
I'm still learning about it every day, but my perspective as an artist, I really appreciate the idea of what this technology is bringing to the digital artist.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like something like this has been a long time coming. It kind of levels the playing field in a way, where digital
Mhm.
artists and traditional artists are a little bit more on equal footing.
Mhm.
Potentially with this technology. So yeah, it's exciting to be on the front end of something.
Okay. I was gonna
Mhm.
say, so it's like looking at your like style. It's very like the colors pop. Like, is that just like something that you just like to bring to all your artwork in general?
Yes. As a growing artist, I'm like growing every day, so I'm absorbing the world around me. Whether it's modern day animation, anime, tattoos,
Hmm.
the car scene, all of that. Like they don't use drab colors, so I'm like, that's what
Hmm.
I want.
Hmm.
So yeah, I love infusing those big booming reds and greens
Hmm.
and neons into my illustrations.
I was gonna say the first thing I thought of when I was looking at your page was Akira. It's just like it,
Hmm.
the colors, like the way it popped. Which I feel like if we're talking anime and it's talking about like notoriety for how it looks, Akira as an animation, even though it's old school, it stands up to the test of times, and it just looks nice.
1000%. Yes, all the classics like that, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Cowboy Bebop, those are definitely
Mhm.
inspirations that kept me moving my pencil around to this day.
Yeah,
I think
I
of
can see
I
that.
think of Afro Samurai when I see your stuff. Afro Samurai.
I can see
Oh,
that. You're right. You're right.
hmm
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that
definitely.
remake to happen. What?
Yes,
Wait a second.
Afro Samurai was definitely cool. I remember when it debuted, and then they came out with the movie after
Yeah.
the first series debuted,
Mhm.
and then Samuel L. Jackson, if I remember correctly, yeah, he was amazing in it. So it's a really cool show.
So why did we call it the Knights game, Scott?
So the reason why we called it Night Games was because it not only encompasses Rocket League at its core, as we've said before, but it also encompasses sayings and features from Valorant, Rocket League, Rainbow Six, and Gears of War, some of our most popular
Mhm.
games and games that are, as a company, we really enjoy those games and we currently support them. So that was kind of the overall arching goal of this is how do we encapsulate all the other games that we play into a digital collectible that whether you're a Rocket League fan or you're a Valorant
Mhm.
fan, you would still think that this collection is really cool.
Okay, and I assume that's where the idea of this like for the design came from, like from basically that space, right?
Yeah, exactly. We kind of threw Kalani some curveballs at the towards the middle and end of the project. Like how can we make something feel more Valorant, or how can we make something feel more Rainbow Six? And he just took it in stride. And
Hmm.
talking with Amani, myself, we just kind of really honed in on what we wanted to communicate with. There's sayings on the cars from all the different games, like GG, flip, reset, pogo. Like there's a little bit
Hmm.
of everything that anyone will love.
Okay.
And we created icon badges that represent each of the games and what have you. And Kalani
Hmm.
was able to put those on the cars, like car decals that
Hmm.
represent the game across the Knights platform. So it was really good, really cool.
Okay, so can you share some of the unique or other rare elements of these collectibles?
Yeah, so absolutely. The digital collectibles. So there's going to be
Hmm.
575 digital collectibles within this drop. Um, and the Drift King, which is kind of the drift car inspired, from the car scene that Kalani mentioned. There's going to be 7 attribute categories. So that could be, the background, the rims, the paint job of the car, and then inside of those categories, there's 5 individual randomized, looks and attributes that you could get for each of the cars. And then there's the open wheel car, which is kind of tied to open wheel racing, and it's something that
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we really have seen in Rocket League. But a lot of us on our staff, we really love racing and open wheel racing. So that
Mm-hmm.
digital collectible has 6 attribute categories, and that's like the driver has a unique look, the livery on the car, the wheels look really cool. We have a really limited edition set called the Elites that ties back to the Knights brand, and Kalani just made it look like, it honestly looks kind of like a Tron wheel that you would see out of Tron.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how the collectibles kind of tie into each other and what the attributes look like.
Okay. All right. So I have a question for Amani. So I heard in the backdrafts rumors that there's some exclusive merch that people can access when people purchase these items. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, basically, we took Kalani's artwork, the 2 different cars
Mm-hmm.
that were created, the open wheel and the drift car. We created some medallion-esque graphics to go along with
Mm-hmm.
it, but at the same time, we wanted to continue with that like movement that I talked about earlier, but also brought in a little bit of a retro feel as well. So we created some
Mm-hmm.
graphics. We have t-shirts, we have some hats, some sweatshirts. So like, I don't want to give away too much because we're going to drop it. We want people to get excited. But yeah, we took what Kalani did. It's not as exciting. We dumbed it down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
for apparel.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are gonna like it, and it's fun. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
excited. So Kalani, I mean, we're obviously all fans of your style and your artwork. Can you tell us a little bit about like your history in art, like your beginnings and all that?
Wow, that's an interesting story. Well, just like every other artist, I've been drawing all my life. Honestly, like, you're growing up, and you only have so many resources. So like, I kind of escaped to my illustrations, and that was the way I communicated, not only with myself but the world, honestly. And it's taken me a lot of places. Through my military career and branding firms. I'm a graphic designer, web design, illustration, just across the board. Honestly, the dream was to just simply, Kalani, see if you can make a living, by drawing. So that's
Right.
always been the mission, and I've been super successful with it. And I'm thankful for that for the past decade. And opportunities keep coming my way, and I keep growing and learning. And that's the most exciting part about, my journey so far is like I'm learning and growing and getting better. And, I look back on my artwork, 5 years ago, and then 5 years before that. And I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
good thing I held on. Um, so yeah, that's been pretty much my journey. Just growing, studying other artists. I
Mm-hmm.
love video games, and it's obviously a career field that lends itself to the artistic path. So yes, so all of that, I tried to bring it to the table to show the Knights what I could do, and here we are.
Okay. Do you have any tips for people who want to live the life like you and become a successful artist to work with great brands like the Knights?
Um, Honestly, like I'm a huge fan of illustration, and no matter what I would be doing in my life, I would always have a pencil in my hand. As long as you're passionate about something, I feel like it's inevitable that you're going to get better at it. And I always see myself as a student, so I feel like I've accomplished a lot, but I still have a lot to learn. And kind of being in that position, it's going to lead to more excitement. It's going to lead to more growth. So
Mhm.
I would just say stay humble, and be a student
Okay.
always.
All right. So we're at the tail end of the show. I have one more question for all 3 of you. So, what is your favorite part about, like, what's your favorite thing about this digital collection that we're getting ready to drop soon?
Amani, go ahead.
Well, my favorite car is the drift car,
Hmm.
because it looks badass in general. So the colorways that were generated in this digital collectible. There's one that's kind of like a black on black with like either green or like a hot pink, like glow, like coming out of the trunk. And it's badass. That's what I like. That's what I like about it the most. That fits my personality. Like I always want to be a badass, So this is a badass piece of art. So yeah, that was my favorite part of it.
Awesome. Go ahead, Kalani.
Well, my favorite part about this campaign, the thing that made it interesting to me was the idea of it being a digital product and having so many different combinations really allowed me to kind of be a part of that modding car scene. Like I could build these cars from the ground up. Like I'm building the wheels, the engines, the decals, the colorways, the materials used to build the car, and then the streets that they were on, the type of cars they were. Like, so I feel like this is an interesting way for not only myself to get in there, but also whoever wants to participate in this campaign to get in there and grab kind of pseudo build the car that they want, So in that way, it really felt like I was, a mechanic shop, people were rolling it in, West Coast custom style, and they were leaving my shop with a new car. So in that way, it was kind of fun to, build these cars out and push them out down the production line.
All right, nice. And Scott?
So I have a couple favorite things that I really like about this collection, and I've said this before, but the number one thing that I shouldn't say the number one thing, but one of the things that I really like about this collection is that we found Kalani out of all the artists that we looked at, and he just so happened to have a tie to us from High Res Studios and Smite. Like, I don't know if they're like the stars had to align for that to have happened, and then I'm a really big open wheel racing fan. So just, everything that he did with the open wheel cars, because like we didn't really have too many details for him to follow for that one, because, there isn't, like I said, there really isn't an open wheel car in Rocket League. So it was just his inspiration. And then he comes out with this badass background that we call the Cosmic Slam. And you just like, you look at that one and you're like, I'm in the cosmos. Just, it just really speaks to me. And it's just, I don't know what else I can say. I'm just a really big open wheel racing fan. So it literally just spoke to me since I was like a little kid. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
All right, well, that's the end of our show, guys. It was like all three of you were amazing guests. I'm excited for this launch. I can't wait for myself and the rest of the PK Nation to see this because we have something really big in store for all of you. That was an amazing episode of Friday Nights Live, a special edition. We got some big things coming. I'm very excited, and I hope all of you are. Well, until next time, friendos. Peace out.
To go along with the Night Games drop, the Knights will be giving away a VIP experience for 2 to the Rocket League World Championship. One winner will be provided 2 VIP tickets to the Rocket League World Championship, a $3,500 travel stipend, meet and greet opportunities with Knights Rocket League talent, and it's all presented by Zippo. To enter, simply scan the QR code on your screen, and good luck.